Matt, big news this morning. As Joe Gibbs Racing announced, you'll be running full-time for the team next season. Talk about the opportunity and what it means to you.
Yeah, it's an incredible opportunity. The crazy thing is I remember a couple months ago just coming to Bristol to do the press conference about trying to get back in the car. So it's so cool to be sitting here today and announcing our plans for next year and being full-time. And, the Joe Gibbs Racing organization was so great through everything I went through, and we've had some good runs together, and it's going to be an awesome opportunity to be able to race with them week in and week out. And it'll be my first full season in NASCAR competition. So, it'll definitely be a rewarding thing for me because I feel like I can grow a lot as a driver with all the, the information JGR gives me and relying on our teammates and just that ability to race in and out every week and go contend for the Rookie of the Year and hopefully end up at Homestead too.
All right, and with that, we'll go ahead and open it up to questions. We'll start with Chris Knight and then go to Lewis and Daniel.
Chris Knight, GetTrends.com. Matt, I know that you got your Xfinity Series plan set for 2017, but where does that leave your truck program, if at all?
We still haven't figured that one out yet. So we've just been we've been working on this, but obviously we've had a great partnership with Red Horse Racing and racing with them tonight, and that's we'll continue to work that one out.
All right, we'll go to Lewis.
Over here to your right. Louis Frank of Reuters. Forgive me if this is old news, but since your operation, when people break their bones, they get physical therapy. Did you have any regimen post-op, and is there anything that you have to do these days to stay in good shape?
Yeah, it's still a very real thing in my life. Last week I went up for my 8-week checkup MRIs, and it went well, by the way. So, I still have to do that kind of stuff, and it's still a reminder of the things I have to go through. I have to put we have a really cool sponsor in Surface sunscreen, but surfers, they have this little rectangle, zinc stick that they put on their nose, but I can put it right on my scar, so it's, it's pretty cool how that works. But, it's amazing to look back and see every month how much it progresses, and it'll continue to do that. But, in the beginning, I had to do a lot of, and still I'll do like brain games, just going online and playing on different websites and just trying to keep my brain active. And they say that's the best thing, is just to keep doing that and keep it healthy that way, just constantly thinking instead of just, watching TV or something.
All right, we'll go to Daniel next.
Daniel McFadden, NBC Sports. Do you know what number you'll be driving next year? And also, what are you going to have to do in order to get prepared for just the week in, week out, all year long toll that a full-time season could take on a driver?
Yeah, well, first of all, we're still working on the number, and we'll probably have an announcement with that in time to come. Just no timeline on that yet, but that's something I've thought about as a driver because I haven't done that. The good thing is, the last couple of years I've done about 26 to 30 races a year. They just haven't all been grouped together like the Xfinity schedule has it. So, it'll just be making sure of the off season I get prepared with training and everything, and then just the cool thing about working with JGR and the great thing about them is that they really give me the resources for every week to prepare. With more than enough information for myself and just relying on the relationships I'll have and, with my crew chief as well, being able to actually race week in, week out and work with my guys every week, that'll be huge. So, I know it's going to be a lot more maybe taxing on me, but, it's what I've always wanted to do. So I'm not going to complain about it.
All right, we'll go to Jim, Stan, and then up front.
Jim Utter, Motorsport.com. Matt, the full-time ride, was that something that you guys were talking about before your surgery, or has it kind of developed since then, since you've been able to get out and be competitive again and actually see what you've been able to do on the racetrack?
It's hard to say exactly when it started. When we started this year with the 13-race schedule, in my mind, my job was to go out and perform and show that I could race with my teammates and, learn as much as I could, but with the ultimate goal of hopefully being able to move in a full-time role. And, probably towards the time that it started happening, or that the, health issues started to come up was probably when it first started talking about it, and then obviously this stuff kind of got put on the back burner. So now that we've been able to get back in the car and get some good runs again, that's when we started really seriously talking about it.
All right, we'll go to Stan and then up front.
Matt, Stan Creekmore with Outside the Box. What is the greatest thing you've learned about racing since you returned?
How much I love it. I think I remember in July, probably 2 or 3 weeks after surgery, and it was incredible to me how much my perspective on life had changed because, I remember watching races on TV, and when I first started going through these things and I had to, miss a race for the back issue at Iowa, I was like, man, I really want to be out there. And then I remember sitting at home in July thinking, I have no idea, what my future entails for me. I didn't know if I could drive a street car. I didn't know when that timeline was going to be. I didn't know if I was going to drive a race car this year, next year, whenever. But I just definitely kept the faith in myself that I could get back to that point. That's what kept me motivated the whole time. But without the support of family and friends and that motivation to get back to racing, I don't know how quick my recovery time would have been. And obviously, it's different for every person. But I think that when I had to step out of that car and almost had what I loved so much and wanted to do since I was 5 years old taken away from me, it made me appreciate it so much more now that I'm stepping back into that role as a race car driver.
All right, we'll go to Bob next.
Bob Pockris, ESPN. You've been working with a lot of different partners this year, so should we assume that maybe some of your partners are coming with you, and how hard have you been working off the track to secure partnerships to be able to help kind of motivate Gibbs to put you in a car?
Yeah, we're still working with all our partners on finalizing things for next year, and obviously with the biggest thing being with this announcement coming out, it's a lot better sales pitch to those partners that we've been working with and moving forward. So we'll continue those, and we'll continue the sponsorship talks in new ones as well. It's just this is our sport now is an ever-evolving sponsorship cycle, so we're always trying to find new ways and how to bring in new partners and keep the old ones that we have. So we'll keep on working on it through the off-season. That'll be our biggest next task after Homestead.
All right, we'll go to Wolfgang and then Daniel.
Wolfgang Monzer from Germany, Rennsport Press Agency. You said earlier, if I understood correctly, you were not sure after your medical treatment if you ever can return to a race car or can drive a private road car. Do you have an emergency plan? I mean, fortunately, it worked out positive for you. But in case not, you have an emergency plan then, or a second plan, in case you could not return to a race car?
It's a good question, but I'll say that when I got done with my surgery, I think I went in about 3 o'clock, and I remember about 8 o'clock getting done with it, or the clock said 7:51, and they told me I would be there for 3 or 4 days, just admitted in the hospital. And I got through a lot of things and got eating by midnight that night, and I remember asking the next morning, I asked the nurse for a checklist of what do you need to get out of this hospital. And just wanting to get done with everything, get back to home. And instead of waiting the 3 days, I got out less than 24 hours later from brain surgery. And that motivation that I had ever since then, I never thought in my mind that I wasn't going to do this. It wasn't I thought maybe it's going to take a long time, or I didn't know when the timing would be. But the whole time I was planning on getting back in the car. And that's it's definitely a very tough thing to go through, and I'm not sure how I would have reacted without having the racing piece of it and being able to help others who are going through that as well. So, it was a very strange and tough process for me to go to, but, I never started looking for different routes to go. I just always wanted to be back in the car.
All right, we'll finish up with Daniel.
First, back in September, which was 2 months after your surgery, you told me that you could still feel your brain rewiring. Is that still the case? And also, how hard was it for you to watch Game 7 of the World Series Wednesday night?
I knew somebody would bring that up. It was, it's definitely interesting how the brain heals and fixes itself. The question earlier about the physical therapy of with a normal broken bone compared to your brain. I just had to keep forcing myself to get out and be active, and just even though that doesn't seem to do anything physically, mentally, those new experiences kept on helping my brain heal and ultimately, support itself before I could do something with the adrenaline rush of stepping into race cars. So today, no, not so much. There might be a couple times where it just does it a little bit, but it's, maybe 5%. At most, and that's if it ever does it. So it's pretty much set now. And to your other question, I'm a huge Cleveland sports fan. If anybody knows me, they know that about me. So I went to the ALCS game a week before that, and you know what? They had, I think, 3 or 4 of their best players and pitchers, and Michael Brantley, their outfielder, who was one of our strongest hitters, that was out for the whole season. So they got a bunch of guys coming back for the next few years. So I think the Indians are going to get a World Series here pretty soon. So I'm not too worried about it.
All right, Matt, thanks for joining us this weekend, and good luck.
All right, thank you guys.